Okay, so we take item 10A, resolution 2615, a resolution setting sewer service rates.
Could we,
You could discuss.
well, we could amend that resolution pretty easily to,
It's not every fee,
I know we're not changing any of the fees. So,
right, but it just has to be in writing.
right, but we could amend it in writing to the only, basically, we don't need to have that. We could amend the table or the chart out of the fee or out of the resolution and just add that the resolution amends the existing rate structure to include this note on the commercial rate table.
Okay, yeah, try it.
I think we can do that and get that.
Okay, we'll address that then when we get to it at that point. So we'll leave that on the
If
agenda.
it doesn't work out, we could not do it, but I think it would work out.
Okay, so an adoption for the agenda as discussed.
Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the agenda with the deletion of item 9A.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's open the microphone for public comment. If there's anyone here that would like to express comments, we give you 3 minutes. You're welcome to come up to the podium, state your name and address. No one? Okay, then we will move into our scheduled delegations. We're going to 9B. Brian Carver with JUB Engineering is here to give us an update on our city's general plan progress. So Brian, we'll turn the time over to you.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to come before you tonight. We haven't had a chance to touch base in a little while, so I appreciate the opportunity to share with you kind of the status of our general plan process and get any feedback from you that you might have. So our general planning activities with the city have kind of been on hold for the last couple of months. We've been waiting for some staff changes and giving them a little breathing room to take care of some of the administrative work necessary for the last couple of months. But we are excited to be working with Mr. Ferris now and get back going get back into the action and get this done, get this process done for you. So just as a brief review of some of our past work, we've completed an existing conditions analysis, which I will present a copy to Stephanie so that she can share that with you for your comments and review. And that will eventually be a portion of the general plan document itself, but we'd like to make it available for review and comment now so that we can incorporate that into our process later. But we've also been working on a gap analysis of other needs and particularly services, activities that we feel like the city could use more information on. In particular, JUB has been working and assisting with the community on a new transportation master plan that I understand they're at a point in that process that's really advantageous for us to be able to kind of combine our efforts going forward, looking at land use and transportation together because there's a real reciprocal relationship there. So we're excited to see what we can do over the next couple of months, utilizing that information and getting public feedback on that. So I'll touch on that just a little more in a second. But the city's also working on a water plan and wastewater plan. And one of the and that information will be really valuable for our final general plan product as well, because it kind of gives us an idea of what the community's capacity is in terms of abilities to provide reliable and safe services to future residents of the community. I was excited to learn recently that the city is pursuing additional funding to create a new parks and trails plan. That was something that we've talked about for several months. The old document is, boy, it's almost 30 years old. It's been around for a while. And while it had a lot of great information in it, it's certainly dated and could use a refresh to address the community's new needs. But we've reached several milestones in our public engagement process over the last several months. Beginning last summer, we began public outreach through a public survey on the city website, as well as some pop-up booth events over the summer, kind of including the car show and the night out against crime. And then we held a public open house to collect feedback from residents back in October. We've also held 6 stakeholder committee meetings with representatives from around the community as we've worked to gather information and preferences and start setting strategic goals and objectives for the city that we can use the plan to work towards.
When you say 6 stakeholder, can you give me a better understanding what that was? I didn't hear anything. I didn't know anything until you said that right now.
Okay,
What
so
was that about? And
yeah, so back in July, the mayor convened a group of resident stakeholders. We've got about 12 members of the community. The current Mayor Miller has attended several of those meetings. We started meeting in July. We met in July, September, October, December, and then again, most recently in February was the last time that we met with that group. But I'd be happy to share the list of the participants on that with you. But we've used that group to kind of workshop ideas for determining a vision for the community and determining, based on the additional public feedback that we've received through the surveys and other activities. We use that stakeholder group to kind of filter that and prioritize what types of land use goals and objectives the community needs to be pursuing over the next 5 to 10 years.
I may have heard it just as a different name.
Okay.
You remember, Michael,
We asked for it, yeah.
in the process of starting the general plan, the previous mayor and staff assembled a list of, I think, about close to 40 names initially, and said, here's a group of people that represent all different types of interests, city, commercial, just residential, school interests, so all these different interest groups. And the city council reviewed that list of names and provided recommendations to the consultant on who the city council would
Put on that
suggest to
list.
put on that stakeholder group. So yeah, that was reviewed at the beginning.
I just
I
didn't know it
think
was
you were
called
called
a
a
stakeholder.
steering
Okay.
committee.
Right.
Yeah, I apologize.
If you
The
say
mayor's,
that,
the
that
mayor's
makes
got it
sense
right.
to
So
me.
yeah, it's a steering committee, not a stakeholder committee. But
And
Okay.
I'm on board. Thank you.
Yeah.
and so we're excited to get that group back together soon, and we've got a couple of more tasks that we need their help with. So, and one of those really is as we look at next steps for this process. We're going to schedule some meetings with staff and get back on, make sure that we're all still on the same page in terms of what the community's some of the technical details are in terms of transportation and water and sewer and parks and recreation and some of those other critical services that the community provides, and make sure that we're using the most current data and the same data sources so that we're consistent across all of these different documents that the community is working on. We are working on putting together some kind of example future development scenarios that we would like to present to the community in an upcoming open house, and get some ideas on just kind of how we can tackle future development and balance out the different options and different choices that have to be made. For example, between maintaining the rural character of the community, that small town feel that is so enjoyable, while still at the same time providing opportunity for future generations of residents.
So Brian, when did you say that would be?
We haven't scheduled that yet, but I'm kind of working with my transportation team and the staff here at the city to find an opportune time to put that together. I mean, we want to make sure that we have ample time to notice the public and invite them. So I don't anticipate it will be within the next month, but
Will it be a similar format to the last open house, or will it be more of a question and answer, or how will you conduct that
I
one?
think we were planning on doing something a little more like the last open house, but if we're looking for more of like a workshopping question and answer type activity, we could certainly work at providing that. Because yeah, I know it is a lot of information for the public to digest, and we want to make sure that their questions get answered. So
Combination, I typically see it
Yeah.
as kind of a combination presentation and then taking some feedback or giving feedback opportunities. Because I think it's important when you're putting different development scenarios that people have the opportunity to understand from a professional standpoint, there's pros and cons to each different type. And so
Yep.
it's very applicable and common to provide that presentation to the people that are there to say, if you choose this option, here's the benefits. A higher density leaves more open space. A higher density of housing doesn't necessarily mean a higher density of overall units per acre. Just explaining those things and what the differences are in those different scenarios that you'd be presenting.
right, okay.
I think, and also giving the public an opportunity to ask questions and have those questions answered. I mean, it's one thing to present the information, but I think if we're bringing them in to get information, giving them a set period of time, or having the opportunity to ask questions and have them answered.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, we'll look at making sure that gets incorporated in there.
Brian, who's your transportation team?
So we have Paul Willardson, who's working as our local contact here in Logan, and then our senior transportation planner is VJ Cornala. He works out of our Salt Lake office. He's our chief modeling technician. So,
Okay.
and he does all of the computer modeling for those. But
I think we've met with VJ, haven't we?
yes, I think so.
And certainly Paul, we have. Is there more to it than what we've given VJ already? Because I think we turned that in probably over a month ago. Is there, what's the status of that?
Yeah, my understanding is that the modeling's complete, and they're just ready to get the mapping and kind of visualization tools out there so that we can present it to the community and get their feedback on whether the models line up with their expectations and with their desires for how to accommodate traffic management throughout the community. So
with
just
that-
because the computer says one thing doesn't mean that we're going to recommend it. So, we want to make sure that we can ground truth some of that information too.
So at your open house, will you have a diagram of that transportation plan so that the public can look at it and give input?
Yes, there will be a map available that kind of outlines where the anticipated conflict points are, and it will illustrate some ideas on how to address congestion and areas that are accident prone, and try and give some options on how to resolve some of those conflicts.
So is it correct, Brian, with respect to the transportation plan, though? I mean, I think it's important like that it would be presented and shown as part of the general plan, but in reality, it's somewhat of a separate entity. The transportation plan is not really so much open to public comment and public input. It is basically looking at, collector avenues and mobility requirements for the city. And it's more of a professional planning document that, again, is not so much what does the citizens envision individually or bringing that information collector?
No, but I think it's
So-
good for them to see
It
that, though.
absolutely is. I
I
completely
think we
agree.
want to be totally transparent with where our transportation is in the next 20, 30 years. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's, I think, certainly of
Completely
interest to our
agree.
public.
It can get very technical but we want to make sure that, we show our math.
Yeah.
So give people the opportunity to see the why behind the recommendations.
So what you're saying is that you want to show it to them, but like the public comment isn't going to have a lot of bearing on like,
That's how
what
it
actually
that's how it
happens.
typically works.
okay.
Is,
They pretty much say, we're going to paint the barn red. What color do you want it?
Okay.
Well, a lot of it is based on, these are the anticipated changes that we expect for the community in terms of new development and new road needs. And this is where we're going to have to look at widening roads or other capacity changes. And yeah, just because somebody doesn't want the road widened doesn't mean it's going to fit
Well,
in the
and
community.
Okay.
I will add too, that the city had input on all of that. That was not JUB that was telling us where the roads were. I know
Right.
Tony was involved, Cade was involved. There was a lot of city involvement in all of that for long term. So, if there's a bad design, it's not all JUB's fault.
I hope not, but I hope it's not a bad design at all. So, yep. And then finally, one of the things that we really feel like would be a benefit to the community is a more detailed future land use map, kind of as a comparison to we've got the zoning map, which shows what the existing land use is, but a map that looks into the future that says a little more, what do we want it to be in the future? And then kind of gives us a direction to look forward to and a way to visualize what those changes to the community will look like. So we're putting together some examples of how that could look, a couple of different scenarios based on the feedback we've received from the public and our steering committee. And then again, it just kind of comes down to weighing the pros and cons of each option. And just because, for example, just because we may come up with 3 scenarios doesn't mean you have to pick A, B, or C. We can take ideas from each one and incorporate them into the final product. But each different scenario kind of elicits different reactions from the public and so we found that the process, gives us a good idea of ways to arrive at a final product.
So when you're talking about looking into the future, would it be sort of like in phases? So like this is maybe something that we would do, and then these are possibilities for where we could go in the future? Or
No.
how does that work?
It would be more of like where do we want to see certain changes occur
Okay.
within the community? Where on the ground are we interested in new types of development?
So with
Okay.
an
So-
explanation of that, and then
Mhm.
this map up here is basically the established zoning map right
Mhm.
now. The future land use map is similar to that, but it doesn't necessarily have to match the current zoning map. It would provide what areas of your city do you want to provide different zoning or different, it could be different than that. Different types of land uses as growth continues. So it's going to
I
look
was,
like that. but
yeah,
it's
I was
not.
kind of referring primarily to like transportation, like the future of roads and like where that. So, yeah.
And I think you'll be interested in seeing, the changes that, the growth as you look where stoplights are going to be. And I think that's I think of interest that our citizens should want to see, I'm thinking.
I
Okay.
agree.
So-
Absolutely. It's important to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So prior to the possible public open house,
Mhm.
is that something that you can publish to the city and the city council? So if we say, hey, well, that's not quite what we meant, or if we have some comments before it really goes to the public, is that a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. We could run that by you and get some feedback on that.
But it's not, I would disagree with that because it's not the council member's general plan. It's
No.
the city's plan. And that input should, in this process, unless we're on the steering committee, we are simply a citizen. We don't have any more input typically than other citizens in the community in the general plan update process. And so that's pretty typically how general plans go. And so I guess if you want them to show it to us, that's a prerogative, but I don't think it's appropriate for us to look at it in advance and say, as a council, we want you to do this differently. We can provide the same input as anybody else can.
Sure. I think what I did ask city council, but I think the city should be able to, the staff that we have, I think you got Kate on there who knows and looks and at what our water and our roads and you know, Tony and some things that I feel like our city should have some input prior to unveiling this to the public. So I kind of have a disagreement with you a little bit. I feel like if we were the ones, if our city staff was guiding this and had the steering committee on board, I don't see a problem with our city staff and even maybe the steering committee. Maybe that should be the person seeing this before we do, but
I'm trying to understand. I think, I can see what I think you're saying. There's two things we've been discussing here, the general plan and the transportation plan. I think I completely agree with you on the transportation plan where that has largely been directed by, by CADE, Roads Department, by Emergency Protection Services. Yes, I think that the staff should look at that proposed transportation plan and provide, I think we're in the right track. Absolutely agree with that. The general plan, I think, is a little bit different in presenting the scenarios. Maybe the steering committee, but I already said,
Well,
but
I-
the
But the
transportation plan, I agree with you, Michael, completely. with that.
The transportation plan is not a part of the general plan. It's a separate thing.
It's a separate plan. It's a separate study. It's a complete separate contract.
Okay.
The general plan will
incorporate that though.
reference it.
It will reference it. I mean, they are intentionally two separate documents. The transportation master plan is much more technical and it's much more specific just to transportation. The general plan itself is a broad document that deals with a variety. We call it a general plan because it's kind of general. It talks about land use. It talks about transportation, but it also talks about economics and it talks about parks and rec and other infrastructure needs. And so it tries to create kind of an umbrella concept of all of the community's needs as they pertain to growth and change in the future. But the transportation master plan is very specifically focused on that transportation infrastructure and how that, and certainly we want to make connections to all of the other activities
Stuart,
within the
it's
city.
gotta make
Right,
sense.
exactly. But it's much more specifically aligned towards the transportation needs, and it details very specific goals and actions that can be addressed for transportation. The general plan will incorporate some of those, but on a less detailed level.
30,000 foot view.
Right.
An overview of everything.
And they will, the
So
general
it does
plan will
general
absolutely reference.
transportation, but then there's a more detailed transportation plan that's separate. Okay.
Yep.
Could we just maybe ask that during that public review that we set up a little differently?
Okay.
I think the dots, I'm not sure. I think they got carried away. I think at the end of the night, there was just a big paper with a lot of dots on it.
There was a lot of,
I wonder if there's another method that you could use to ascertain public sentiment
oh yeah.
and opinions. I looked at that at the end of the night and thought that's just a paper full of dots. I'm not sure how they're going to discern what dot is connected to what.
Okay. Well, I will tell you that the feedback was meaningfully interpreted through our methods. I felt like it was it made, it made sense in the context that we were expecting it to.
So does that mean?
But we were not intending to replicate that
Okay,
process in this next open house.
Okay.
This one will be a slightly different format.
okay, and I wonder even if we could set that up maybe in the Elite Hall where there was a little more room. And it got a little crowded in the
It
Civic
got-
Center.
The air conditioner had a hard time keeping up for sure. So yeah, that's a great idea. We would love to, we would be happy to move over there and
Right, okay,
set that up. We'll coordinate with staff on availability for that. So.
yeah.
Thanks, Brian. That was a good description of how the transportation plan fits into the overall.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So we're just hoping to, we'll get back on this and hopefully I think we can be done by the end of the summer, early fall.
Could I just suggest, and maybe, I don't know, we can't make a request, but suggest that when we started, we had kind of a schedule coordinated. I would like we have the staff, Daniel or whatever, work with the consultant and trying to get those meetings scheduled and get back on track with the schedule.
Yeah, I
for
think,
these meetings and then a draft plan and get it to more of a final.
I think that's a great suggestion. I'd love to see a timeline on my desk.
Yeah, okay, we'll get that revised and I'll get that back to you.
When can I expect to see that?
Would next week be all right?
That would be great.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
all right. Thank you for your time. And if you ever have any questions, reach out to Tony. He knows how to get a hold of me. So.
As I reach out to Tony, he's got the answers.
Yeah, Tony knows everything. So don't call me.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Brian.
thank you very much.
All right, let's go to 9C. Timothy Schmidt Planned Unit Development seeking concept plan approval for a 4 single lot family dwelling planned unit development located at 182 North, 600 East. Timothy, come on up.
Hey, good evening. So my name's Tim Schmidt and live at 198 North 600 East, right within the property of the other property wanting to split out there. Just seeking an approval for the Schmidt PUD and looking to create an attractive, well-planned development with low density, not high density, which could be in there, but looking for the low density, trying to keep that town feel, and just kind of like the neighbors, and kind of keep that as a neighborhood atmosphere, as opposed to just stacking a bunch of units in there. Not sure what else I need to do, but that's what I'm seeking to do, and I know there's a lot of staff comments on here as well, so I can address those if needed. I also brought an engineer here so to make sure that I do all the right stuff too, following the codes and getting the plan just right and nice.
What would your engineer tell us that we don't know?
That I don't know, Steve.
That makes two of us then.
Yeah. I think as questions come up, because it's just a concept plan at this point, I know there's some finer details that will need to go in there. And so we can address those as they pop up and possibly move further with the plan.
Timothy, in driving by there today and looking at it a little bit, and I think some of it was noted in here. I mean, clearly there's a retention pond area in there. There's a decline and a
That
depression
ditch.
and water issues. How are you?
So there are some water features on the property. There's a spring there. It does not flow out. It actually flows into the current ditch that has water going through it from another spring as well. And that pipe is a 25-inch pipe, and there's tons of available water that could go through there that does not currently. I know it can handle a a 24-inch pipe can handle a lot of water. And it doesn't, my understanding is it never gets up to a flooding capacity. And any water mitigation that I need to address and have put in there, we've kind of planned that out with the engineer as well, piping that so it does not run over. And there's a grade on there to where if we do need a retaining pond, just based on the hydrologist information, we can certainly put that in there too. It is in one of the drawings currently, but doesn't necessarily have to be there if we don't need it.
Well, part of a PUD, typically, you said you're looking at putting 4 homes in here, would be preserving some open space and parks or open areas as part of the PUD. Is that proposed in here anywhere? I mean, I know there's a tree right in the center that's been
Yeah.
questioned, and they were going to
Yeah.
remove it, but now you're going to keep it and you're going to build around it. But are any part of this area designated for open space?
Yeah, each parcel is roughly 0.8 acres on each one, and then one on the number 3 lot, 1.1 acres on that. And I know there's some things around the PUD. If it was a tight, like 30 units available to put in there, I know that we'd have to have the green space off to the side. But being that each property is very large, my understanding is we don't have to designate that area for just the community itself because each property is so big.
I'm not sure that's accurate, is it?
No, I mean, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
Tony can come up and talk, but based on the items submitted to the council from the planning commission, it's, I think the planning commission recommendation was to not approve it going forward as a PUD.
Right.
For various reasons. Looking at this, it's a challenging fit because open space definition by our PUD ordinance is it's common open space. It's not relegated to any
Private
one
property.
parcel. So this doesn't comply with any of the open space requirements of the PUD. It has a private access road, which is allowed in a PUD, but it doesn't have, because there's not a dedicated parcel for the road, that's typically private roads in a PUD are maintained by the group collectively, but it's in a common area, it's in a common space. This is a series of, if you were to continue forward with it as shown, it's of cross-access easements from one parcel to another. And if I remember looking at the planning commission comments, there's really no established homeowners association or entity to maintain snow removal, chip seal, slurry seal, whatever, maintain the road, the access road in perpetuity. And so if I remember the comments, Tim, you're a very gracious neighbor. You're ready to take care of snow removal and things while you're there. But should you move, there's nothing that would commit or obligate a future person in your home to care for private drive on 3 other parcels that access 4 potential separate lots. And so as far as what's been presented, I would have to agree with it wasn't a unanimous vote of the planning commission, but I would certainly agree with the majority of denying it as it's presented. So that being said, I went and looked at it and says, okay, can this be done as a traditional single family subdivision? And potentially it could be. The city, and talking to Kate, in my opinion as well, is not really interested in having a public street going into service for homes that they have to go and take care of snow removal and long-term maintenance and things like that. And so, like I said, it's kind of a unique, it really doesn't fit either type of development structure. But I think in looking at moving it forward, I think that there's more of an opportunity as a as a PUD, but with some changes. And I think that there needs to be an established mechanism in providing for the road access drive maintenance in perpetuity. That there needs to be, whether that's typically according to our ordinance would be a homeowners association. It's going to be expensive when you have to resurface that road or, slurry seal, chip seal. Snow plowing this last year wouldn't have been very expensive.
Yeah,
Well, if
Right,
the water
right.
line breaks underneath the road
But,
there, and the city has
yeah.
to repair the line, but the asphalt's the homeowners.
Well, yeah, typically,
Yeah,
if the
yeah.
road breaks, the city's gonna, it would be in an easement. It would be a public utility owned by the city in that easement. And just like any other PUD, the city would come in and maintain that. And typically, part of fixing a water line leak is repaving it. So the city
The city would
would cover
repay
that
that?
cost. But right now, this doesn't have really a provision for, I guess that, you could have that area that's kind of dashed around the driveway that I think is intended to be probably a utilities easement.
Easement, yeah.
Okay. The stormwater system, the swales and things, is who's maintaining all of that. Those are concerns. I know that the staff comments, I don't know if this came up as much in the planning commission meeting, but part of the staff comments is the stormwater management and mixing the spring water in with the detention area. I don't know what was your plan for the detention area? Is it rock lined or vegetated or what are your thoughts with that, Tim?
Yeah, it right now it's not detailed on that manner just yet because of just the concept rise. So didn't get into those grainy details yet. But the HOA thing was brought up, and definitely adding the HOA to that to make sure and ensure that that's covered. My brother will also be on another parcel on the top number 3 parcel, and so so there's an ownership there as well to make sure that is maintained and presented well, as that town feel. The water, I don't know if that Cody talked to the water, just the amount of water and everything. We can talk about the amount of water. He ran some calculations on what it could flow and what it does flow.
Are you talking about the spring?
The spring with the pipe, not
Okay.
with the
Not
24,
Peterson
25 inch
spring,
pipe.
but the other pipe.
Yeah, not Peterson. Yeah.
Okay.
That one doesn't flow currently. Currently, there's a 15-foot hole that is rock lined on the bottom, and then a pipe is going out to the spring that's feeding with the 25-inch pipe. And I couldn't find where there was a high flow of water. There's just a little trickle that comes out of that thing, but nothing flows over the top. But yeah, any water mitigation, we'll definitely have the engineer make sure we address that and make sure there's no flooding.
I wasn't right then, and my comment wasn't respective to flooding per se. It was more respective to as if the way that it's configured, the water is just running through the detention area all of the time, and if it's vegetated, it's
gotcha.
going to be a soggy mess.
Yeah.
If it's rock, then is it going to have little pools in it where you got mosquito issues all the time? Ponding in a rock structure or what? And so if it's part of an incorporated water feature, then who maintains that? Where is it at? Is it battling brook swale type thing? I don't know. What you're going to do with it, and so just the separation of those systems, stormwater versus spring waters, would typically be, I think, appropriate unless there's extenuating features that would mitigate that. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess initially that was just for any kind of overflow of water. We weren't currently running anything through it per se, as far as piping or springs and whatnot. But Because that pipe here on the bottom left here is running from the current 25-inch pipe to basically my property. And kind of see where the dot is right above the
Walk
road
over
there.
and point that out,
Oh,
would
yeah,
you?
sure. So this is the current 25-inch pipe. And this will be all underground piped all the way to here. And then this will be opened back up for any overflow or anything coming into that. This is also designated for snow and or water.
But that's where the
Drainage.
spring water runs down, correct?
No, spring comes down through here, goes up through here.
Okay, I thought there was another spring
There is
farther up
a-
on the other side that
there's
would
a
come into that
pipe.
swale.
Right, it's right around here. Currently, it doesn't flow at all.
Right now
Um,
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right now, it hasn't yet, but yeah.
It's been a
since
really
I've
dry
been
year.
there. Yeah, that's fair.
Did you point to the corner of where that proposed home is?
Which one?
Where the spring is, the one that's dry and hasn't started
Lot
flowing
two.
yet?
Yeah, it's
Lot
up there in the
Yeah.
front. And these are just placed here just for concept. It's not an actual placement.
Oh, okay.
On that. But yeah, the spring's right here, so it'll be actually in front of, and then the current piping coming out to
Into the ditch
the
now.
ditch here right now. Yeah. I've looked for any kind of high flow coming out of that thing since we moved there in November. I haven't seen anything. I talked to the neighbors as well to see if has there any been a flood. To their knowledge, since they've been here, they have not seen one. That's 20 years for Mr. Smith, which is right here.
Right.
And then some other neighbors as well. I know it did at one point in time clog with debris up here, but I think that can happen in any ditch, and then just somebody maintains it and keeps it cleaned out.
Tim, are these slab on grade or are they basement?
No basement. on
No
these.
basement.
Yeah, just to make sure, because the water line is probably a little bit lower.
Yeah.
I don't have a basement either. I have a crawl space. It's maybe 4 feet tall. I've been down there a few times and I haven't seen any water, but I don't want to deal with that or have somebody else deal with that either.
It can get pretty shallow.
Yeah.
Um,
I
So,
would like to just make the recommendation, if you're going to move forward with this plan, whatever we do,
Mhm.
that it's not going to be you or a person that lives there to maintain that you somehow figure out how to set that to where it's a city street and we do it. And that's one option. And that would be done maybe through a subdivision
Mhm.
or if create a homeowners association and that you fee it and then pay somebody to do that. But as I looked at the comments from the staff and the planning commission, they listed a lot of things, and it seemed like to me water's an issue. Snow removal was one. I didn't really. I know there's a slope to a lot of this. An issue I thought about was water coming down that road that you're have in front of the two homes and the third.
Hmm.
And there's no curb and gutter there. And I'm trying to think, well, if there's a big flow of water, I don't know, from a side hill, that's usually where you have water escape when there's a wet year.
Yeah.
And I don't want the water just to flow across the road and then we got ice and water. So I think there's got to be some kind of a way to do curb and gutter and maybe some stormwater. But to just say put a PUD in here, I'm not really in favor of that. And based on the recommendations of our staff, but I'm not saying, hey, you can't do this. I want to help, but I'm just the way it's been presented to our planning commission. I'd say there's some areas that need to be addressed.
Yeah,
And
it
these-
definitely. And then so HOA we are developed or making to make sure we cover that any kind of removal. And then we're also adding curb and gutter to that road. The one thing we were trying to avoid kind of feedback from neighbors and neighborhood and trying to keep it as a town feel was a sidewalk out of the blue, out of nowhere. So if I could get an exception with that sidewalk, subdivision may be the way to go. The PUD was just kind of addressing that. Different type of infrastructure is the main point there. Because there's no sidewalk anywhere. And to just have a short stretch of sidewalk seems kind of odd.
It does keep people off the road though, if you're walking and, you know what I'm saying? It's not
Sure.
going to be a high traffic where there's just 3 homes there, but it
Yeah.
kind of pulls them off the road. And I don't know. I understand what you're saying though.
Yeah, gotcha. But yeah, and that's the thing. I didn't want to put 30 homes in there and do that. Didn't I wanted to keep
No,
it.
I
on
don't
the
think
town
that that's
feel.
kind of
Yeah.
a subdivision we'd want
Yeah.
either. So
What about these 2 trees? Because I know that was listed here in the comments, and on the map, it says they're to be removed.
No, they're not. One has been removed. It was pretty much all dead. It was a 10-foot tree, and there's about this much that was alive. The inside was hollowed out, and when you went in there with the chainsaw, it was like butter, just went right through it. So that one was taken down because the limbs were falling as well. But the other one's very healthy. Plan on keeping that there until it falls down. And then keep the houses away from it so they don't get damaged either, but far enough away to where it's not an issue. But yeah, it's a very, a lot of the neighbors, kids and grandkids, they play in that thing every day, including my kids. I got 4, and they love it. Yeah, got
Yeah,
a
there's 2 or 3
65-foot
swings
rope
hanging
swing in
from
there.
that tree.
Yeah, they love it. So yeah, the plan is to keep that. Yeah.
Well, I think there's been a lot of comment. I tend to agree with the road, the snow plowing issue that I've been to council meetings before where people have been in a PUD and come back and expect the city to plow the roads, and they don't understand that that's
set it
not
up.
our responsibility.
Right.
And so I think that needs to be addressed. I don't think we want to take ownership of that if you're calling it a PUD. And
Sure.
so that would be my concern, I think, probably the biggest. And then the other one, not a major one, but I think it is a major one. The tree that's still up, is that the tree with the nesting raptors in it?
I haven't seen any in there, but if actually just to right here, there's a tree on the property line, and I have seen 6 or 8 or 10 of them raptors up there daily. So I think they're nested over there currently.
Do you know, Alan?
I didn't even know there was any raptors there. It's vultures.
Vultures, yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah, turkey vultures.
Yeah.
They're not nesting there. They just come down to this area. They just
Oh.
migrate.
Okay, well, there's that. But yeah, no, I haven't seen any raptors so far. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I think the PUD, again, doesn't support a common open area. And having larger lots does not meet the PUD requirement to have open designated area for everyone if it's on private property.
Okay.
So
Okay, we
were
can definitely
you
adjust that. Yeah.
on lot number 4? Were you saying that like that wasn't one that you were going to sell immediately? Like, would that be a possibility to have open area in lot number 4?
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge area to from the pipeline over that we can definitely designate to a particular area. It's pretty much not buildable. Even to go on one side or the other, there's more room on the west side of that property than there is on the east. The east, I just don't think it would accommodate a home. But yeah,
Right.
not plan to get rid of that one right away. But also there was a question about, well, if you don't build on it, somebody could come in there and put 5 units there. So we'll be building on it, but that won't be the first one is all. And
To say it's not currently buildable, lot
No,
4?
no, not lot.
oh no,
4, but
just to the east,
the east
from the
of-
sewer line
Oh,
over.
okay.
You wouldn't- it would just be
Okay.
too close to that thing.
Do you want a suggestion? I don't know exactly where the I don't know if it's a good suggestion or not.
Fair. I'm all ears.
We need to probably talk to our, look at where the service lines, it's my understanding that the main line is there to serve the homes above that. Their service lines come down into that line. And I don't know where the service lines all come across and connect in. That will eventually need to be ferreted out, and each respective homeowner, well, right now they have a prescriptive easement across this property. Doesn't look like it's been a recorded easement. Back in the day when the sewer was put in, it probably just wasn't done. But with development, each of those properties that are served by that line will need to have an established easement for their service line. But I would look at if it may work out depending on where the service lines come in, but at that lot line between lot 3 and 4, to take the main line or somewhere around there anyway, and replace that, cut it out and bring it down to tie into your sewer service line for the development. That may, depending on where the service lines come in, open up a lot of lot number 4 for use, flexibility with the building, with the home. If you can take the service lines and bring them down into the service for the sewer main for your development.
Oh, so you're saying bringing that one down and then continue on with it?
Yeah.
Because currently the sewer lines come up to right around here.
Right. So you're putting a sewer line in through here and connecting down. So what I'm suggesting is, instead of just maintaining this right now, that all goes out to the north, is my understanding anyway, is to basically take this leg, bring it here. And I don't know if there's a sewer service that comes down here or something, but basically take this, put a manhole here and direct it down, or here or whatever, direct it down into your sewer. And then there may be a section of this line that could be cut out to give more flexibility for that.
Oh, I got you.
It would depend on where the service lines for these parcels come down and come across. If this one is left here, for example, then you could cut out that much section of the main line. So just some things that I think need to be ferreted out. The planning commission voted to deny this. The city council can accept that recommendation and vote the same. The city council can provide additional conditions or other alternatives. The sidewalk, one other comment about the sidewalk. I know last year, Matt Holmes was looking at some future sidewalk plans. There are sections of sidewalk on 100 North. It's intermittent between blocks, and I believe he put that on his long-term sidewalk plan to consider extending or continuing the sidewalk along just one side of First North to make it connected. I don't know of what his plan showed as far as bringing it around the corner along the bottom of the cemetery or not, but there has been some plans for extension of sidewalk into this area. There are a lot of people that walk along there, up and down First North. I believe there's quite a few I walk it.
I walk it.
And so I'm not a lot of people, I'm just a big people.
Yeah.
So anyway, there is a sidewalk plan in place that eventually will continue sidewalk up there. Whether or not it continues into this 4-lot development or not is debatable, but I do think it's appropriate to have the sidewalk installed on 600 East as you have shown on the plan. I guess, Mayor, just for further discussion, I would make a motion to remand or move this development as a PUD back to the Planning Commission for further review, with the conditions that the access road be established as a separate lot, that some measure of open space be provided and an outline of direction on, we don't need all the details at this stage, but an outline of direction on what the HOA would look like, and separating out the spring water from the stormwater system. And in consideration with the roadway parcel or the access parcel of ensuring that there is space for snow removal or snow storage.
Yeah, that's currently there on the north side of that road.
Well, usually when they're plowing snow, they don't. I mean,
Just on the north,
you can
yeah.
somewhat plow it
Yeah.
out, but if that's your stormwater swale and it doesn't do a lot of it doesn't work very well, especially if you put curb and gutter on the road to say that's all your your snow storage. Can be. One suggestion would be to take the east end of that hammerhead turnaround and establish a snow storage easement area at the east end of that. And then you could just more or less just push snow straight off the end as well. I mean, there's options, but it needs to be
Okay.
designated. I think that would be part of the plan development and for further discussion at the planning commission level. That would bring this development more in tune with the actual PUD ordinance, in my opinion. So, I don't know, sorry, I extended my motion. I'm
That was a
sorry.
motion and that.
I would second that motion.
But no, okay, can
Now we
we,
have further discussion.
we have further discussion on that. I think the idea of sidewalk was not in your motion either. And I
It was
think
not
that
in
needs to
there.
be considered
Well, that, yeah.
and part of that
consider-
as well.
It could be considered, yeah. I don't know if that's, if it's a private road.
Well, I'm not talking about, the private road, but I'm talking
Talking about
about
600, Steve?
on, yeah.
Yeah, this is there, and I said that should stay there. Yeah,
The sidewalk.
the sidewalk.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yep, yes.
Right. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
I'd like to ask Tony. Tony, you've looked at this a lot. You part of the planning commission. Is there any comments that you would like to add to any of this at all?
I can. When the public hearing took place, the neighborhood came and they came in with a lot of support. I mean, they came with the support of it because two things. The way that the PUD code is written, it could yield 30 plus units. The terrain for the hill obviously would bring that number down. But what the neighborhood had seen was 4 single family dwellings and the private road and drive going up into it, which is a reflection of their neighborhood that they all live in. So it came with a lot of support from the neighborhood. Yeah, I think
Well-
that's a good comment and a positive comment and positive, compliment too to the application.
One of the things that I do like is that Mr. Schmidt lives there and he's invested in the neighborhood. When you have people from outside come in and buy something and want to put something in, they don't have to live with it afterwards. But he is one of the neighbors. And so, to me, that's a positive that he's there and invested in it.
Which
That
I
is.
do agree with.
Yeah.
However, there has to be a plan in place going forward too, because you won't reside there forever, ever. I mean, at some future point, the ownership of these will turn over. And so there has to be a plan in place that will work for future ownership as well when you or your brother are no longer there.
Mhm. And then secondly, there is the Architectural Review Board qualifier, A through I. Staff did not identify a lot of those. So when we come back, there was even at the concept level, fencing, screening, items like that. And the open space to the community, the availability to it, this concept is all private land with easement and in the previous PUDs, every PUD application in that architectural review items have open area for the inhabitants of the PUD to commonly enjoy. And that I didn't see that meet the qualification by doing that analysis with the code.
Sure.
So with that, and that's very true, and I think that some measure of open space associated with the road, whether that's a walking path instead of a sidewalk or something, maybe that's a road-based path or something along the side of the road. I don't know, but I think most open space requirements are based on, frankly, most PUDs, people try to push as much as they can into it as far as densities. And so maintaining that open space for a playground area, that's also a requirement, is more applicable to higher density spaces. Here, I think, like I said initially, it's kind of just pushing way outside of a PUD. If we can contain that a little bit more, provide for maintenance and different things that way, and have some measurable open space. My personal opinion is we could look at entertaining something less than the amount of designated open space in the ordinance based on the very low density of the development. A lot of times, I mean, our PUD ordinance allows the city to approve higher densities or more units if there are mitigating conditions like increased open space or additional amenities like a clubhouse or pickleball courts or something. We can increase densities by requiring additional amenities. I don't see an issue with decreasing some of those open space requirements if the densities are subsequently decreasing as well. So, I mean, that's something that we can consider.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would like, if based on the motion that was made, Tony, do you think with those changes or those conditions that the Planning Commission would choose to discuss or entertain this in a different way than their initial meeting?
I think it, with that motion, absolutely, there was a question. I believe it was delegated for 30 minutes when they were coming up with their decision. And there was a big hang up on the open space requirement and then the road being on private property parcels and the extent of the cross access and agreements for everybody or for all the lots in that subdivision. Whereas if it was on its own lot in the subdivision, everybody living there in the PUD would know when they pay into their HOA, that money's going to that parcel that is shared, that is part of it, and everybody's throwing the money in to that maintenance, rather than if it was a private lot and then one of the homeowners, potentially didn't, well, it can go both ways, but didn't want to participate on their portion that's in front of their yard and let the other members of the HOA and the PUD come up with that money because it does go through a private property parcel.
Okay, so
Yeah.
are there any other specific Planning Commission concerns that might need to be included in that motion to allow it to move forward? Or do you think with these things that have been
Yeah,
could they?
no, I think
rework
that,
and
yeah,
move
that
forward?
definitely entertains a motion and discussion to move forward, going back to the Planning Commission. I think you made a great recommendation. The springs, I don't know, I'm not very educated in like springs and water rights and things like that. They talked about the spring. If the spring on the lot belongs to a person who is deceased, and where does that ownership of that go? And how's that handled? And then how close can a new home be built to that existing spring where it's at? And then the Peterson Spring that's down, when you come downhill around the corner, there's, to my knowledge from the meeting, is that that spring continuously flows, and would there be an impact in that pipe when the improvements of the impervious surfaces and the developed land by modifying the terrain, would the stormwater coming off that hill interfere with the flow of the Peterson Spring and complicate it? And the lot, like the water on lot 4, that was talked about a couple times, that there's a lot of water on the hill. I never knew that there's water there, but there's things can be mitigated, but we need to make sure through the process that we have made efforts to acknowledge the mitigations for the developer.
Hey, Craig, one last thing. Would you be opposed to modifying your amendment or your proposal motion to move that from a PUD to a subdivision, and then there's no, as they modify this to fit that, then ownership of actually not ownership, but responsibility of snow plowing and those type of things moves away from an HOA having to do that, and it falls more in line with city property, and we do that. Would you be okay with that?
No, not really. In discussing this with our streets department with Cade, and just looking at this, like, the city does not have an interest from a staff point or from my perspective in owning and maintaining this street. That's a dead end street for 4 homes with that type of turnaround and things.
Well, I would make it modified to fit our subdivision
If they had
model.
to do a cul-de-sac on it, it would be, 90 foot, 100 foot diameter right of way for that cul-de-sac that would take out probably take out the tree that's remaining and a
Lot
good
3.
chunk of lot 4 in that buildable area between lots 3 and 4. You could still probably build on those lots, but it would be a significant impact. It'd be much more expensive. And if this can be done as an HOA, the HOA documents, I think we really need to look at that carefully with the CC&Rs and things, that it be in perpetuity, that it's not something that they can just dissolve and turn over as a city street. It wouldn't be constructed as a city street, wouldn't follow the same, at least I don't, I mean, if it's a PUD and they try to turn it over to the city later on, it wouldn't have the designated street widths, or unless we make it that way in a PUD. But the city, I don't think, wants to have a public street up into this development.
What, isn't that what you're saying, is create an HOA and allow the HOA then
No,
to
he
wants to
contract?
be a public
Oh,
street.
no.
I
Yeah.
want to make it a subdivision, which, like you
Oh.
said, would have to have some kind of a way to turn around. I don't know if you call that a hammer, but that would come out.
Yeah. no.
And why I say that is, all of a sudden, there is no HOA that says, oh, we can't maintain as you move or your brother moves, all of a sudden, we don't have snowplow. Who's taking care of the roads again? So I just thought maybe a subdivision fits a small subdivision would fit that a little better. That's my
Yeah, I
thoughts.
agree with you, Craig. No.
There's 2 ways. There's certainly different ways of looking at it. I don't know that I would like to make that motion. I guess or make that amendment to the motion if the planning commission wants to have that further discussion with the applicant. And as it gets remanded back to the planning commission, there's certainly opportunity to have that additional dialogue and look at changing the type of development. But at this point, I would rather with the motion made, let it go back to the planning commission and have for further action between the developer and or the applicant and the planning commission on those decisions.
I
They
think, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
I think that I would agree with Craig. I think what happens, this may set a precedent within the city where somebody else wants to put a 4 or 5 home PUD in or even a subdivision, and they want the city then to take care of the roads. And I just think we could really get caught up in doing small little roads when the big roads go unattended. And so I think that I would prefer that the developer work to take care of the snow removal.
The way that one way to look at that is with this number of lots, I mean, if there were 3 lots, it would qualify as a minor subdivision, and you could almost get 3 lots. You probably could just fronting out onto 600 East and do this as a minor subdivision. A minor subdivision, our ordinance requires that it be fronting an established city street so that the city doesn't take on additional street sections for just one or two homes, up to 3 homes in a minor subdivision. And so, I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry, Michael, I'm not really, I wouldn't like to add that to the motion, but if the planning commission and applicant want to have that further discussion and it comes back as a regular subdivision, actually, if it did that, it wouldn't come back to the city council. It would go through the ALUA and we would never see it again. If it's a PUD, then yeah, it'll come back. So. And that's another point just to make. If it did switch to a regular subdivision, would really struggle with our ordinance, and that's one of the things trying to figure out is how do we fit this with, it's again, the way that it's presented right now doesn't really fit the PUD.
Right, that's what I see, and
But
I
it-
struggled with.
But
so.
it can.
Yes, it can
But
be
it
adapted to.
can. And I think it can fit a PUD ordinance with the changes the conditions that have been stated better than it would fit a traditional subdivision.
Or a mini subdivision.
Or, yeah. I mean, they could still do a mini subdivision, but you would lose a lot of, I mean, it would be a bunch of really long, well, it'd be up to 3 really long skinny lots that I think doesn't really take the best advantage of that property.
Sure.
The other thing is if it went back to an ALUA, a traditional subdivision, 4 lots, it would require a traditional subdivision. Our ordinance allows the city council to waive certain requirements like sidewalk. We have done that in the past, Hidden Valley subdivision. So there's some premises for allowing that as a traditional subdivision. But the street ownership is, in my mind, for 4 properties, given what they would like to do to maintain that somewhat, if you want to call it somewhat of an undeveloped appearance, more or less, without the sidewalks, for example, I think that it would be more difficult to make that work with the traditional development. They would have to put a full city street section up through there, which
Sure, I agree with all that. That makes sense. But I've just not seen in my term in office, when we've looked at Wapiti and some of the stuff on the west side of town, when there's been an HOA and it's had issues, PUDs have kind of, I don't know, I've not really liked them. It seemed like not something that's unpopular with, so.
okay, I understand, and very well, point well taken, very well and appropriate. How Wapiti was, I think, the first PUD in Hiram, and one of the very first ones in the state. It was done when PUDs were first. We're looking at accessory dwelling units, those state changes. Wapiti went in when the state said you have to allow PUDs, and the developers didn't know. Well, they might have known what they were doing, but they sure pulled the wool over the city's eyes. There's a lot of things that we have changed with our PUD ordinance that require a pro forma that shows, how this will be maintained in perpetuity. That has to be established and set up that way, which none of that was put in those earlier PUDs that way. So you're right. They have some problems. Absolutely.
Okay, we've got an amended motion and a second. Do we have further discussion?
No amended.
No amended.
No amended,
No.
just a motion and a
Just a
second.
motion, yep.
Okay, we need to vote on this. We need to vote individually on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Any opposed?
any opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
I hope that our planning commission works well with you, and
Yeah,
I am
absolutely.
not,
Yeah.
I want you to build something there, I do, but I just was not favor with the PUD part of it, so.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. And those finer details, I think will, after the concept is where we go, right? This is just, it's kind of a layout just to see like, hey, can we do this? And then the details come into play after that, right?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I think, take a modified version of your concept plan.
Mhm.
Am I right, Tony? And basically back to the planning commission,
Okay.
and then start working out how big of an area for the open space that you would propose to come back to the council. That has to be then approved by the planning commission. Look at the separation of any stormwater from the any spring flows, on how that's going to be piped and different things to not have it maybe running into your detention area. Just things that were mentioned in the motion. I can't remember it just to repeat it. So
Yeah, no, there's a lot there. Yeah, and then the spring, I've applied for that ownership for that spring as well.
absolutely, you
Yeah.
gotta work through that. Something that's
Yep.
down the road, working through the water rights issues. That
Yep. Currently
doesn't
doing
have to
that
be
right
solved
now. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
brought up. You're aware of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
okay, thank you, Timothy.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it. We're going to move to 9D, Mike Presley, Vernon Investments LLC site plan, seeking site plan approval for site plan approval for a storage enclosure located at 570 West, 400 North. Mike, you want to come up?
Good evening. So what our proposal here is, we have one of our facilities over here that has a lot of open, exposed area to the weather, where we store kind of compacted cardboard that we send off to recycling. We currently have a covering over it, but with rain and snow and stuff coming in, it gets on a forklift and what have you. So we're proposing to build a 48 by roughly 48.8 foot enclosure that will just enclose that corner that previously has a covering over it, just to keep that cardboard and any tools out of the weather.
Okay, I'm trying to find it. Okay.
So it's this creek. Let's see. Yeah. So this is what Fourth North, and right up there on the corner. Commodities over the building there.
So is that the old Tri-Miller?
Mm-hmm.
I hid a ham in the silo when I was a kid. Have you looked in there to see if that ham is
I
still
haven't,
there?
but I can check for you.
Was that alive?
It wasn't a live ham. Okay, so say that again. Tell me, I just pull it up. Explain maybe to us one more time, would you, Mike? Tell
Yeah.
me what you're looking to do.
No problem. So if I can just come over here. So this is currently covered partially. And we put there's a door here that we come out, just put cardboard here that we collapse and band and then ship off to a recycler. But with rain and snow coming in and sunlight and what have you, we want to just cover this with an enclosed building. So it's gonna attach to the existing building and just come out here. And then just keep all of our equipment out of the weather. So basically it's a 48 by 48 foot shed.
So this is awesome that you're coming in to do this, and I don't know if this applies or not. I'm going to reach out to Tony because he's got all the answers. And I'm somewhat facetious with this. So this has been an active commercial site, or active or somewhat abandoned at different times for a long period, longer than I've probably been alive. And coming in to make changes to get a site application approval. Can we now go back and require all like the landscaping and everything else for a commercial property with this? I don't think it's applicable, but it would be awesome to see that. And I know this is, like you said, is a pretty basic use and what you're looking for. And I think it's appropriate to do that, but it'd be nice to see some external site improvements at some point, and maybe that comes when we eventually decide what this property really wants to be when it grows up.
In 100 more years, probably.
The building that you're planning on is probably an improvement to the site. Looking at it, I mean, it's just like I say, it's an enclosed, not a bad looking, just a metal single slope roof. Where does the stormwater go, or the roof runoff from this roof? The runoff, does it? I mean, you're right against an existing building on two sides. Does it run off to the south?
It run off to
So
the
I'm not sure I'm
south.
seeing
Correct.
South elevation. So
Yep.
actually, it runs off to the east, right?
Shouldn't go to the east, should go to south or west.
Well, the south elevation has a cross slope on it. And so if that's the south elevation, then this is running to the west, which is isn't there an existing building on the west
Yeah.
side of it?
No, on the west, there's something to the north and something to the east. The south and west are open.
Okay, because I'm just looking at this plan and it shows right up there at the upper right
Yes,
corner,
yeah.
upper left corner of the screen, it says existing building
Over here.
right there. Yeah, it says existing building.
There's like some sheds and silo stuff over here, but
Oh.
this is all open. This is all
Okay.
open ground.
So there's a label for an existing building that doesn't really show the building. Okay,
So isn't there,
okay.
is there still a ditch that runs through there? That property?
You're way more familiar with this.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah, where's the ditch in comparison with your proposed building?
One that runs right over here.
Okay,
And then there's one that goes under the building.
Oh,
Right about here.
okay, so you're back on the northwest corner?
Yeah.
Is that where you be?
Yeah.
Back where the Hog Palace was?
Stephanie, can you go
Is that,
back a couple pages, please?
is the Hog Palace still up?
Aerial photo.
It's right here.
Yeah. So that's where the new building's gonna go. So it drains off to the west, right between the two buildings.
And then there's drainage all along here.
Okay. Okay.
You can actually see the.
Where do those drains drain out to? I mean, we're not adding any more stormwater because it's already hard surface and everything.
Yeah, we're not adding anything else to it. And there's
Where do
no,
they drain to?
I believe they drain to, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they
There's
drain.
drains in that driveway. I know there's drains along there that go into that ditch.
Yeah, I think they drained to that other
Yeah.
ditch.
I don't know if the drains are still in place, but I know that there were drains there at one time that it drained from the south down to the north into the drains.
I'm pretty sure that's still how it is because I've gone there multiple times and it's raining pretty good and it's all going into, it drains really well, actually. There's no puddling, nothing like that.
Yeah.
I think it all goes to the north.
Yeah, you're building right on top and not that it matters because the rest of the building is right on top of that ditch that runs under
Mhm.
the building itself. So you're gonna build in the little, point out again where you're building on that map. Right there, yeah.
It's already open, it's already kind of formed. So we're just basically adding on just to keep the stuff.
So it's attached to the existing building. You're just closing in the west and southern walls.
South, correct.
So, yeah, you can see on the far right side of the building itself, you can see just a kind of a stick out shadow.
Yeah.
Right there. That's the ditch and it runs straight through. So the drain on that I don't think it's been covered up, but I don't see it in that photo.
The drain on that far right side, yeah, it's still open.
Well, the drain, that's where the ditch actually goes
Mhm.
under the building.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be putting.
Yeah, it's on an angle.
Oh, okay.
It comes right up through there. Yep, I don't see any problem with that going up. I liked your suggestion of landscaping though. I'm not sure what could be done with landscaping down there.
Just
Isn't there a lot of cement?
It's all cement and asphalt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if you're just gonna put a building, I'd say just put the building.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. There's really there's no plumbing. There's electrical already out there.
Like customers showing up.
No, it's just
Yeah,
a storage
so-
room.
Right, so
That's
I'm
all it
like,
is.
I just don't
I think
see-
the reason I had to be here was because anything over 1,000 or 1,500 square feet and it comes to be like 2,500.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I think it's. a
I'd like to
great-
make a motion that we approve the building as you proposed it.
I second that.
Approving the site plan.
Site plan.
The county will
Oh, okay.
approve the building
Got
through the
ya.
building permit process
Okay.
there. I think.
Okay,
Approving site plan approval.
then I would like to make a motion to approve the site plan approval for storage enclosure located at 570 West, 400 North.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So I'm not done.
okay. No problem.
Is Shark processing cheese there?
Mhm.
Okay, so you are utilizing the refrigeration there. then.
Correct.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Good.
And that's what the cardboard that it gets shipped in with
Uh-huh.
is kind of what that store is for. We compact it and then band it and stick it over there.
All right.
So
Do you work there?
I don't work there, no.
No. I want to come down and find somebody and see if we can go find that ham.
Well, I work at our building in Wellsville.
Wellsville.
So if you want a field trip, come see me and we'll go take a look.
All
Okay,
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's go to 9E, Austin Taylor to request permission to rent Bandits Cove Disc Golf Course for a tournament. Austin, are you here?
Didn't see that on the agenda. Let me think you
Yeah.
put on.
Well,
Does anyone have any information?
Monday or Tuesday, came in after.
Got it.
Apparently, he has been working with Robert
I didn't see it. I downloaded it
to
earlier.
reserve it for a tournament at the end of June. And the city council, as part of the reservation agreement, it has to be, if somebody's using it for a tournament, it has to come before the city council for you guys' approval. It's probably to make sure that they understand that there needs to be porta
Restrooms
potties,
and
parking and, some of the other things.
Can we do anything though if he's not here to ask questions and get clarifications?
It's up to you guys.
Uh,
Sometimes you
we could deny it
sometimes
and
it's
make him come
approved, or
back.
Sometimes, there's too many questions.
Well, if Robert's here, I'm not sure that Robert is still
It's
here.
not here.
He's not going to answer the questions.
So
that
Stephanie,
you're gonna
looking
probably
through the
ask, but-
application, it appeared that he met all the requirements in terms of that. So unless there was something that was missing on the application that we were concerned about, I didn't see anything. So I don't know.
Didn't see
Unless there's
anything either.
concerns from the council, I don't know that there's any reason to bring him back if he met all the requirements on the application.
The only thing I can think of from
This is-
past is we were gonna only allow him one tournament a year. And last year they knew that and they had 3.
They were
So-
trying to just squeeze them in and not tell the city or
Yeah.
anything. And so I
Oh.
wanted to find out if this is the same person or the same.
It's the same
individual,
group.
Same
So
group and things. And so I know, I think Robert, if I remember correctly, I think you brought it up, Michael. He ended up kind of shutting down a tournament on them because they were out there.
they wanted one more
Yeah.
and that we go, that's the 4th one. And,
So I wanted to, I mean, he says, yeah, he signed off on the application, but I would like to find out, okay, what are they doing for parking and things? How are they going to address
Well, and
that?
the event isn't until the end of June.
So
I think
let's-
there's time
yeah.
to bring him back.
Let's table it
Yeah.
and move on. And if, obviously, if he wants to come back,
Do we need a motion to table?
Would say just continue it. And then they can
Okay.
bring it back on the agenda easier.
Okay.
okay. All right, let's move on to,
vote
We need
on
to make a
that.
motion.
Need to
Make a
vote-
motion
make
to
a-
continue Austin Taylor request permission to rent Bandits Cove Disc Golf Course for a tournament
Second.
to, next
The
council.
only question with that is if they, I mean, we have another council meeting, but for them to, I mean, you can't really advertise it and tentatively schedule it unless they actually have
He
it reserved. And so
Can't,
that
but he didn't
could conditionally, but
show up.
it would be nice if he'd, especially given the history and the background
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
of this whole situation. Would have been nice to have been here or
Or reached out to
had
say, I
some
can't
kind of
be here.
representative or
Yeah.
something. So
okay, we got a motion and a second. So all in favor?
I
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to 10A, Resolution 2615, a resolution setting sewer service rates and prior discussion. Craig, do you want to take and make that motion again?
Dan, is there anything you wanted to say about that before I take a shot at this?
Yeah, so this is adjusting the sewer service rates so that we can actually put a meter in and meter somebody's sewage that goes into it. Normally, the sewer rates are calculated based on how much water they use. And instead of that, there are some places we have in town that might need to be metered so that we can actually determine exactly how much sewage they are sending down to the plant.
Are you talking commercial in particular or
Yeah.
residential?
Particular.
Yeah, This only affects the commercial
Commercial, okay.
rate structure.
So we do already have, like, I think you said, we already probably meter their water, right?
Yes, we meter the water.
So couldn't we say, hey, whatever water you're consuming, you're really,
There are some places in town that use more sewage than they use water.
oh,
So-
because these guys have a truck that can come in and,
They
Okay.
bring in
yeah.
significantly more wastewater than they use
Okay.
potable water.
Yeah. So if they're bringing in and they're actually bringing water onto their site from another source, from a truck or something of the sort, and then extra water goes down the drain, it might be more than what they're actually using on
Sure.
site.
Makes a lot of sense.
So
But Craig,
Oh.
you said something about taking the,
yeah,
chart
so
out,
so
or-
the way that I understand this is that and I didn't check what the current rates, but the proposal is not to change what the treatment cost per 1,000 gallons is based on the measurement. The proposal is to, as Dan said, to be able to meter the effluent. And in the resolution, it does not have the right rate table. And so, Mayor, I would like to make a motion to to approve resolution 26-15. Oh, I think I have to read that. I don't have it up on my agenda. Hold on a second. Let me
It's just setting sewer
Okay.
service rates.
Okay. I make a motion to approve resolution 26-15, a resolution setting sewer service rates with the following amendment. That let me make it big enough to see it, even with my glasses. That the now therefore Wait, sorry, okay, there it is right there. That the now therefore section at the bottom of the resolution be revised to strike user rates for sewer service from the municipal sewerage system are increased as follows, and to replace the part that was struck with sewer service rate structure for commercial customers be revised to allow measurement of effluent as a means of charging for wastewater treatment services. So that paragraph would now read, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Hiram City, Cache County, State of Utah, that the sewer service rate structure for commercial customers be revised to allow measurement of effluent as a means of charging for wastewater treatment services. And the next revision would be to strike the table that delineates sewer service rates and amend the current sewer service rate table with the following statement. Commercial sewer rates shall be calculated based on the total gallons of culinary water used per month, or where an approved and calibrated effluent meter is voluntarily or required by the city to be installed based on the total gallons of wastewater discharged. There's a comment after installed. Based on the total gallons of wastewater discharged to the Hiram City Water Reclamation Facility, period. In the event that the effluent meter is non-functional, comma, inaccessible, comma, or determined, inaccessible or determined to be inaccurate, comma, billing shall be based on the average of the previous 3 months effluent discharge recorded prior to inaccessibility or noted errors in the metered flow. Let's see, in the metered flow until the meter is again accessible or repaired and verified, period.
Okay,
That's my motion.
okay, that's a good motion.
Oh, you know.
You can listen to that and talk to that.
Okay, no, that's a good motion, Craig. I think we followed that.
And then I think we probably also need to include that the non-resident user surcharges and the sewer lift station user surcharges be struck from the resolution, was they're not impacted by the changes.
Residential and sewer.
Non-residential.
Okay. So we have a motion.
I'll second.
Can I ask you a question? Why would we strike it if sometime down the future, some non-residents wanted to somehow, and we had agreement with them
We're
to
not
discharge?
striking it. We're not striking the rates. We're striking the rates from this resolution because that's not the current rate structure.
That's
So we
not what I
need
was
to- we need to-
asking, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
You were saying for non-residents, and you were striking that portion, I thought? You said I want to strike the,
This
Non-resident usage.
non-residential user charge and sewer lift station user charges.
and I'm like, okay, so let's just say that somebody came in and wanted to
Non-resident.
did you say that or
They
not?
struck non-resident.
Oh, okay, okay, then I don't have I thought you'd said that.
I just struck the sewer service rate table, which is the whole table that has the
Sure,
the fees
Incorrect.
in there,
okay.
in it.
So the
Mm.
bottom two that says non-residential, that's on the screen, non-residential.
Oh, that part down there.
Yeah,
User
those two.
surcharges in the
I-
sewer lift station, did you want those left in it? Or
I,
don't?
no, I don't know if those might be correct. I just struck them
Those
because
were-
they're not
those are
applicable
correct.
to the
They're not.
Yeah,
changes.
those are correct.
Okay, they could stay, but they're not
Okay.
applicable. They're not
That's-
applicable to the changes
that's what I
that
was
we're
asking.
we're addressing.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion, and did we have a second?
Made a second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, resolution passes. Okay, let's go to other business. Consideration and appointment of an interim city engineer. Dan, you want to take that?
Sure. So currently, we do not have a city engineer on staff, and there's, I think, 512 different requirements within our ordinances in which a city engineer has to do certain things. At this point, I would like to propose that we appoint a interim city engineer until we get a city engineer on staff. As a professional engineer myself and the city administrator, I propose that that would be me. And so I could sign off on anything that was needed to do for a city engineer.
Now that the mayor walked out. I think our ordinance says the mayor has to appoint, and that's unless he's delegated you to
Okay.
appoint that. I don't know
No,
how
no.
we deal with that, but I don't know. Does it matter, Stephanie, on that? Because.
I was,
I think
yeah.
he already knows about it, the mayor,
He
but
does.
you're right, he probably
Okay.
should be here
Okay.
to approve that, right?
We could tell him you denied it and then he would wonder what was going on.
What was the next item on the agenda?
Actually, you know what? Can I just make a
It's
motion
the-
to approve the appointment? I make a motion. Well, he can't call for a vote if he's not. I have to wait for him to come back.
Right.
Hey, but I'm the,
You're the mayor pro
Mayor
tem.
pro
Let's
tem.
go.
Well done.
Make the
I guess
motion.
that's the situation. Mr. Mayor Pro Temp, I make a motion to approve the appointment of Dan Ferris as the interim city engineer for Hiram City.
I'll second it.
Got to call for a vote.
I sound, okay, a motion's been made and a second's been made. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Motion passed.
Well
And the
done.
mayor returns. Took care
We
of
just
business in
denied
your
your city
absence.
interim engineer appointment.
Oh, good. I think I thought I left my lights on in the car. Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Let's go to 11B, consideration and appointment to the Administrative Land Use Authority Board. Okay, Tony?
Provided in the summary, you will see that the city code has a requirement that 3 members are appointed to the ALUA. Currently, we have 2 members. We have a complete, well-performed ALUA reviews that include ALUA members and staff. And we have an upcoming application that we will be completing, and we need to have 3 ALUA members to sign that off, and it'll be as early as, I believe, on Thursday. And the ALUA is currently our city attorney and an external engineering firm that is working with the ALUA. It's been very productive, and the staff members are our department heads of our utility departments, and myself am involved with these. Every one of them, I prepare the applications, initiate the meetings, prepare reviews, do reviews, schedule the appointments, schedule the review cycle times, dates, verify that their applications are complete, before we do that. And I schedule and keep communication with all the members that are reviewing these subdivisions. Make sure we get those returned in time and following state code and state law. And then when there's up to 4 cycle reviews, when we're complete, we're done. And then we have a pre-construction meeting. I schedule that. I made the pre-construction application, and we meet with the developers before they start construction, and we have some requirements before staff will even sign the plats, before the plats get signed. So there's a very in-depth process to it. We just need another member. We need an ALUA member
So we
to
currently have
comply with that code.
John Jenkins and
Eric Dersteller. Yeah, and Eric Dersteller is from, I don't even know the name.
Engineering.
Forsgren. Yeah, and Eric Dersteller is great. I mean, he has the experience. He has been an asset to these reviews. That I think with his professionalism, I see him work. I get his information back. I get his reviews. He catches things that are sometimes overseen by other staff members, and that's why we have so many folks plugged into this, is because these applications are development applications that have property dedications to the city, and the state made it so they never go to this legislative body for approval. So that's why they stop at the planning commission at a preliminary plat approval. Then it's up to the ALUA to carry the rest of it out. Like it was mentioned earlier, if an application was not a PUD, and if it was a qualifying ALUA application, you would never know. And there would be a 20-lot subdivision being built unless you followed and looked at the announcements and the public hearings that we have for these subdivisions. So
at this
they're pretty
time,
intense.
at this time, are we seeking consideration of individuals then for that to serve as the third member?
Considerations and an approval.
Okay. And
Mhm.
Are you interviewing 3 people now, or do you have a person in mind already?
It's the mayor's appointment.
I would hope that you would consider serving on that ALUA board, Tony.
I can do that. I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then do we need a motion to make that happen?
Can I make a comment though? Just
Sure.
really quick. Tony, I think you've done a tremendous job in helping the city to elevate our processes, our zoning, our mapping, our planning, and I commend you. And when you come in and present to us, I really appreciate all you've done. And I want to see that move forward and stuff. I have one question, and that's if you move to this ALU board,
Mhm.
will you still present to us, or because you have taken that ALUA role, will you not be presenting to us as a council?
My job,
Maybe
my
I'm saying, maybe
position.
I've said that wrong.
Yeah, no, my
You-
position
you-
doesn't change.
Okay.
I'm already
Yeah.
in that review cycle,
Okay.
managing ALUAs. So
Okay.
it's a signature line to provide a service to the applicants.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I move to approve the appointment of Tony Eakins to the Administrative Land Use Authority Board.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Just one further discussion item.
Mhm.
Michael, I think that's a great point you bring up, and actually I think it strengthens he's doing it already. He's familiar with it because he's been facilitating this work through the ALUA and in most, not all, but many other communities, probably the majority of communities that have planning staff, they have a representative of the planner on that ALUA. And it gives them a more direct responsibility to bring it back and present to the city council or update the council. And as you would remember, that was one of the items that was of significant concern when this legislation came out is how do we get any feedback? How do we know what's going on with development and what is or isn't working? Because the council is responsible to revise or update ordinances,
Just got pulled back, right?
but without having the feedback, how do we know what to do? So having Tony's representation there is a more direct link to getting a feedback and report. So I think it's a great
Yeah.
addition to the ALUA.
Here, here.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Tony. We do appreciate all you do.
You bet. Thanks.
Now, would you go home?
I can't.
No. Okay. Oh, you do have another one here. Okay, so we're still on 11C, tentative adoption of the 2026-27 operating budgets and set a date for a public hearing. Todd?
Okay, so I just want to read this from so the public notice must be posted at least 7 days before the day of the hearing. So I've given that to Stephanie, and we'll get that posted. We're well within that time. And the day that we have set for that public hearing is our next regular scheduled
City council.
city council on the June 4th. Yep. And then the next part, it talks about the proposed tentative budget must be on display in advance and available for public inspection at least 10 days before the before the hearing date. So anyways, I don't know on there, I don't know that we have some of those changes, but we will have those changes in there by the time it has to be posted, right? We did.
10 days,
Uh-huh.
holiday.
Does it include the holiday? So where does that put us?
Tuesday?
It's Tuesday, right? Yeah. You can't count the holiday.
So
The 4th?
So
can't count
March,
weekends.
Tuesday,
No, it counts.
10. Well, if it counts the weekends, then we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, it's just the tentative anyways, right, Steph? So we can just use,
It would have to be available by Monday, the 25th. So like, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
It's just tomorrow you'll have to bring it to me.
yeah, I can make whatever changes tomorrow. Yeah. And those changes are what we talked about. We cut out from our budget workshops
Right.
is what we, those capital projects that we cut out, and then the one personnel that we had cut out. Was there any other changes that we can think of?
Those, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think there was
Those were the
anything
big
else.
ones.
But yeah, I'll get all those in and give those to Stephanie tomorrow, and then before 10, before 9. Okay. Okay. Perfect. We'll okay. Perfect. We'll get, I don't know. Is that the same with the personnel that has to be posted? Okay.
Because the personnel, the salaries were 7 days.
Okay. It's the same as the public hearing stuff, not, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird that the public hearing only needs 7 days, but this has to be with the public 10 days. It really doesn't.
To
make
view,
sense.
yeah.
It's actually 10-day public hearing notice.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the date of the hearing. I think from our budget workshops, I think we're in good shape, and we're moving forward. there's been a lot of tough decisions or whatever
Still some
this
tough
year.
ones to be
There's
made.
still some ones to be made, but I think we're in good shape and we'll find a way to pay for those. So anyways, I don't think there's anything else other than, yeah, we set the date and I'll have those changes, Stephanie, tomorrow before 9:30. And yeah.
Okay, 11D budget report, same thing.
Wait, let's go back. I need a motion.
Okay.
To adopt the tentative budget, right?
Also in that motion, the date that you're gonna hold the public hearing.
So we put that as what you were presented as the tentative budget, but maybe just approve it with the changes that were discussed, right?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Who wants to make a motion?
So we'll make a motion to approve the tentative adoption of the 2026-27 operating budget and set a date of June 4th for the public hearing with the changes of personnel and
Capital.
Oh, and the capital
Capital.
improvements that were taken off of the budget.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Todd, you want to take 11D?
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to pull that up, staff? Well, there wasn't a whole lot to report. There's two months left in the, yeah, you'll have to scroll pretty far.
Page
Yeah.
92.
But there was, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot to report. We did get another pretty big, sizable distribution for our property tax. Our energy that we purchase from UAMPS has been pretty steady. We haven't seen a whole lot of jumps or whatever. So,
What page you want?
yeah, we can go, well, that's just the little notes. So I just talked about, yeah, the tax distribution, capital projects. Ned said if they're not done by June, he's going to be pretty upset with them. They've kind of dragged their feet at the contractors that were awarded at Libby Springs. But anyway, so we're hoping that will be completed, and we'll have to transfer some money from the general fund to the capital projects fund to finalize that. But like I said, I'm hoping that it will be done. The contractor will be done and out of here by June 30th. And then, yeah, we've talked about the water and irrigation, I feel like quite a bit, but anyways, to help build reserves and things like that, we are kind of suggesting that our rates are looked at, but yeah, other than that, most of the departments are on pace to where they should be. And other than the fire department, I know you're here, Tony, but he's working on it, and he's got a lot of big decisions too to make in the next little while. But so we don't want to stress him out too much. But he knows that, yeah, we work on a budget. And, yeah.
You made one comment in the budget planning exercise that the auditors had wanted you to put money in this particular fund, but you talked to us about moving that to the capital projects. Was it capital projects you wanted to move that? And does that need to be made as part of our motion at all?
That'd probably be the budget amendment.
It'll be in the budget amendment, and we usually just do those once a year. So right, watch for that in that public hearing, usually in my slides. Like I'll present like what adjustments are being made to the current year budget. Yeah.
Okay.
And really, like I said, everything's on pace. We may need to adjust like the fire department a little bit. I don't know, Tony, you're cutting it thin, but I mean, again, those are just kind of estimates too, because I have to give this by June 4th, that gives a whole month of purchasing.
You got a
But-
couple weeks to send the brush truck.
Yeah.
Make it a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty close, but you might go over by a couple $100. No? All right, Tony's got him, got him trained. Now don't buy anything.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
but, yeah, I guess I'm not sure 100% on that. Are you just, maybe just, yeah, the adjustments, and we'll show any budget adjustments on that at that June, fourth meeting.
They could move it back, but they weren't necessarily going to right now, but it was an option if needed.
Well, I'm just asking if it was something you figured out that if it needed to be part of the,
Oh, yeah, it'll be part of the budget adjustment.
okay.
Because we only budgeted 600,000,
Mhm.
and we thought a lot more of it, again, because these contractors have been pretty slow. We thought a lot of it would be in budget year 23, 24, because that's when they got like awarded the bid in that year, and then didn't get started. Like they had quite a bit of time too, because we didn't have like a heavy winter. Like they had plenty of time to get it done, but anyways, it just has rolled over a year basically. And we need to move more money to capital projects to pay for that. Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
all right.
about it. So
Okay, we have a motion. Do we need one?
No, we don't need one on that.
On the
yeah,
report?
that's just a
Okay.
report. Yep.
All right, Todd. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let's move to 11E, our council and mayor and council reports. I'll just tell everyone, after our reports, we are going to go into a closed session, but let's go through our reports first here. So Rebecca?
I gave my library and school reports a couple of weeks ago, so there's nothing new that I'm aware of that's come up since then, other than Mayor Miller attended Lincoln Elementary and Canyon Elementary's Great American Award assembly and presentation for the schools, and spoke to the kids and the parents, and that was fun for them and a great thing for him to do. So thank you.
It was fun for me.
It was a
Fun
good
for me
time.
to see how incredibly, what great achievers they are.
Yeah, very dedicated
And
and
very impressive.
great kiddos. So
Yeah.
yeah, other than that, I've given my update so far and there's nothing new to add.
Okay, Michael.
I am really excited that we are having our first emergency training series next Tuesday night at 6:00. And I believe we're having our youth council come and help us set up chairs. I hope that the Civic Center is full. I've actually got flyers on all the different churches and wards and buildings, even our non-LDS affiliate,
Nominations.
denominations, thanks. Yes. And I hope that we have that full. And what I'm nervous about is that we have more than 100 people. So I've asked Robert if there's a way to live stream it and record it, so that if I do have more than 100 people show up, because that's all the chairs we have, that I can tell people to go home and watch it. And if not, they can watch it at a later time. So I hope it's a good turnout. And then from that, the next month, we're having active shooter. And I thought if this becomes something that we're filling the Civic Center, might want to move it to one of the stake centers and set up chairs in the gym, because I think that'd give us a lot more than 100. So that's my plan. I hope to see you all there. I hope it's something that benefits the community. It has been done in other cities, and I think there's a lot that can be disseminated out to our citizens. So
If you get Robert to stream that, will you send me the link? I am going to be out of town next week.
sure. Yep.
Okay.
We'll get. So
All right, yeah, make sure, and I'll zoom in. Okay.
Zoom.
Thank you, Michael, and sure appreciate your effort on that too. You know, we often overlook emergency preparedness because, you know, we don't worry about it until we have an emergency. And so grateful for your effort and what you're doing to help us get prepared for that. Nayland.
So the youth council, we've got the candy cabins opening on June 1st. So I've been getting lots of sugar to get that stocked up. So they're getting excited about that. We have for the patriotic program, the children's choir, we so far have 91 kids registered for that, for the children's choir, and that registration will close on June 1st.
That's great.
So,
Yeah, that's really
yeah,
Good.
that's all I have.
Okay. You're not going to give us a 30-minute report on
Uganda?
Africa?
Uganda was amazing.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you're back and safe. And from the reports you've given us, it sounds like a successful, great trip.
That was fantastic.
Good for you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Todd, that's all.
Sorry, on that, Nayland, I'm not able to get pennies anymore from the, I know it's the penny candy store.
Oh,
Will
yeah.
you make sure you round up to the 5 cents on those?
Oh, yeah.
2 cents are free.
We can do that. We can do that.
Yeah, I'm running out of pennies.
Okay.
Can't get pennies anymore.
All right.
Have to raid the piggy bank or whatever.
They're becoming rare. They're worth 1 penny now. Good. Okay. Thank you. Craig.
So Mayor, just a couple things, the museum report, Jamie is in, Pennsylvania, National, I don't know exactly the name of the conference, but it's National Museum something conference, and, to receive her national recognition. I hope we can get a copy of that when she returns. I think she'll be coming back Saturday, I think, is when she comes back.
We
And
certainly want to get her on the council agenda to, you know, express and to recognize her on that award as well.
Absolutely, that would be appropriate. I spoke in error in our budget workshop. I was thinking this was the third national recognition. This is the second national award that Jamie has received for museum service and museum operations there. Other museum news, Hiram Hot Wheels is coming up June 6th. Nayland, with you being back over the youth council, usually the new youth council help us to set things up Friday night.
Okay.
We could have possible 3 to 4 youth council members Friday evening to help carry out tables and chairs, set up some of the parking alignment. And we usually start that at 5:30 Friday night.
So 5:30?
5:30 Friday night, and then Saturday, the youth council usually would have them help us with kind of the getting cars in, helping with parking cars, initial work of getting things set up in the morning. I think they usually get there about 7:30 to 8, about 8 o'clock, or even 8:30 would be okay for the youth council Saturday morning. And then at about 2:30 to help clean up, have another 3 or 4 if they're available to help with that. Any council members, like to invite you to come see some nice looking cars. We've got a lot of cars pre-registered, some nice sponsorships and things. Should be a great day as long as the weather is good.
What time does it start, Craig?
Well, I'll be there at 7.
When do I have to be there as a spectator?
We start letting cars come in and park at about like 9 o'clock,
Okay.
8:30. I think actually the ones that have pre-registered can start pulling in a little bit earlier, about 8:30, but the event actually starts at 10.
Okay.
Officially starts at 10 by the time people, start coming in.
Checking in. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Food trucks, I think we have like 7 different food trucks set up for that. And things should be going well there. Dan, could you reach out to Larry Coleman? He's helped in the past with this, but just to have him make sure that the electrical system is turned on for the ground boxes so we can plug in the speakers from the radio broadcast system there. If he has any questions, have him contact me. We went around and looked at that last year. And so, I mean, it's been a year ago. So if it was me, I'd still have some questions, but if he has any questions, I'll be happy to meet him out there and look at the boxes that we would need to be using. But recreation, Robert just poked his head around the corner. I thought he'd went home, but a few things in recreation I wanted to note, and then make sure and fill me in if there's anything else. You got some rec members here. Have them come on in.
Is this your son?
This is my son.
Awesome.
Well, stand up and introduce him.
This is Bob.
Hi.
Bob. So we just had a baseball game.
Awesome.
How'd you do, Bob?
Good. 16 to 8.
16 to 8. What position did you play?
Center field, and I played shortstop last inning.
Good on you.
Okay.
How many hits did you get?
None.
But you still won.
Walked.
Walked him,
Walked
huh?
him.
Oh, well, good job. Great job. It's nice to meet you, Bob. Come again.
I think I met you at like Smith's or something.
Oh, yeah, we were, don't say that too loud. Yes, we were at Smith's. So good to see you again. That's right. Yep. Wonderful. Anything else, Craig?
A few things, but just to highlight a couple
Yeah.
things on the recreation program. Thanks for sending this email, Robert, with the updates here. It has more information than I have. So July, looking at the 4th of July events, Independence Day events, working on adding vendors for activities on the square. That will be a really nice to have some things picking back up with that. I hope that goes well this year. I'm not going to read all of this. I can forward this. I think you sent it to a couple council members who have requested this update, but several other things happening with the Independence Day activities. 30 registrations for the parade have come in so far. I'm excited to see how that works with the themes and things from the parade committee and things there. Adult softball, 5 teams playing Thursday nights. Youth softball is in process. Looks like 380 participants this year. That's a lot. Track and field I think there was a message went out about track and field. I think we talked about that at the budget workshop. It was pretty successful. Fishing classes is another kind of a pretty exciting new event. The first class of 15 people is full, and they're working on still some open registrations are there for the second session. 11 people registered for the second session of the skateboard lessons. I think there were something like 7 or something like that for the first session. I can't remember the exact number. Campsite rentals open up today for the campgrounds up the canyon, and lots of other new programs and resolution things coming up here. So I won't read through all of those, just so I'm trying to keep things a little bit shorter. But Children's Theater, $3,500 grant, that's worth mentioning for the Children's Theater program. Great job, Robert. Thank you. And I think that's all I would share, unless you feel anything else important to add to that report. I'll yield 15 seconds of my time. That's all I got left. I don't know.
When do
noticed that-
movies in the park start?
Yeah.
Movies
June
in the park
12th.
start June 12th. And we're going
June
to be
12th.
doing Back to the Future. And I've already secured that with Swank movie motion pictures for the movie rights. I'm looking at Zootopia 2 for July. and just paid that invoice for that one as well today.
So is that up at East Park?
It is at Blacksmith Fork
Blacksmith
in the
Fork at the
amphitheater.
amphitheater up there.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
So,
As long as the wind doesn't blow the screen down, we're good.
it is a solid concrete wall.
Oh, okay. It's not gonna blow down.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's a nice
Well, what time does that
amphitheater.
normally start?
At dusk. Right now, the offset for sunset is about 8:30.
Okay.
So we'll probably start right after 8, between 8:30 on June 12th.
Is that free to the public?
That is free to the public.
That's great. That's great.
And the Candy Cabin has typically done concessions at it as well.
Good. Great. Well, thanks for all you're doing, Robert. I read through that list and I just get tired reading through it. So you're doing a great job. You really are. And yeah, Hiram's a better place since you've been here. So thanks for what you're doing. Anything else, Craig?
I'm good there.
Okay, Mont.
Yeah. So just a comment, 4th of July celebration is in full swing. Rebecca chaired meeting, when was it, last Tuesday?
Last
Two
Tuesday,
Tuesdays ago. And the committee's in full force, moving forward. Lori Durr, again, shout out to Lori Durr and Roseanne Porter, who are the co-chairs for the parade. They have really just stepped up, haven't they, Rebecca?
They
They're going.
really have. It's
they're-
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, contacting businesses, local communities, schools, religious organizations. They were really doing a great job reaching out to everybody. Love the flags that are along Main Street. Don't those look great?
Mhm.
Those look really good. And then Rebecca, do you have any other information for what we talked about? Can we talk about that with the high school kids?
Sure,
And the
remind me.
banners.
Oh,
The
the
banners,
banners.
yes.
I was going to mention that and then, oh, should I?
Yeah.
So we ordered 13 banners for the Mountain Crest Hiram graduating students that were 4.0 scholars or Sterling scholars or both. The banners were printed and I picked them up last night and brought them in this morning and we unrolled them with Stephanie and Larry and they were supposed to be 30 by 59 so they could fit on the poles. And they were taller than me. And Larry's like, that's not 59 inches. So we have Larry hung one up to see, but the wind blows. So I've been back in touch with the banner shop. They're in the process of reprinting all of them. I'm hoping to have them tomorrow. I keep checking my phone and I haven't seen any updates. So we're hoping to have those maybe by tomorrow, but there'll be 13 that will go up and down Main Street that Larry's going to put up with his crew, and we'll keep them up for a week or two. So hopefully all next week through graduation and then the following week. And a letter went out to each of the kids and their families from Mayor Miller that was mailed out to them, letting them know that, congratulating them, acknowledging them, and letting them know that the city was proud of them and putting their banners up. So
Yeah,
look
no,
forward to
so
that.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm driving down Logan the past couple of days and I keep thinking, okay, Hiram's coming.
Any
so-
day, I know. I'm like, oh, hopefully tomorrow. Well,
Our next meeting's on June the 2nd, so we're continuing the planning phase. Again, lots of thanks, Mayor. As you said, Robert's been a big help, getting flyers done, announcements, everything else, coordinating that. So we appreciate the work Robert's been doing, helping there. Kind of a dead subject, but I wanted to talk about the cemetery. Clever. So, not sure why, but the north end of the cemetery was originally mapped sections N and U, did not include burial spaces on the farthest north end of those two sections. But with Sunrise Engineering, the ground was surveyed, GPS markers, and identified an additional 235 burial lots that are available to purchase beginning May of this year. So that's really good news. The Vetchin Memorial Monument that was designed and donated to the cemetery is nearing installation. The monument space was delivered and is being stored in the shed at the cemetery. Brown Monument is contracted with someone to install the monument with the assistance of our crews here in Hiram.
So
And so-
while you're on that.
Yeah.
We know the donors. I think it would be really well if we paid tribute to them in our patriotic meeting.
Okay.
With recognition of some sort, and if they were there to maybe have them at least stand, or we give them a letter of recognition, or something else that maybe the council would think about. But that monument is an incredible donation to our city.
Are they residents of Hiram?
No, I don't think.
No, I don't believe they are.
Yeah.
But when that monument is in place, you'll be able to go up to the cemetery and see it. I had Cade and Keisha actually recommend a spot for that, and it's in a perfect location for visitors to see and admire, and an incredible.
How do we get them to show up at our patriotic program? I think that would be like you.
We can certainly send out an invitation if possible, but maybe give that some
Yeah, absolutely. I think
consideration.
it's a great idea.
Okay.
They're working really hard to get the cemetery grounds looking good for Memorial Day. Excuse me. So new sod has been laid over the recent burials plots that they've had. The street sweeper's been servicing the cemetery roads. And then new binders with all the updated cemetery information, and the new QR codes will be available to the public when they're visiting during the holiday. So I think we're good shape for Memorial Day.
Just with that, several on the council probably aren't aware of maybe you've probably seen them before, the cemetery flags.
Yeah.
To post on put up at the entries and things there. So I think the staff, usually Cade probably puts those up, or has one of his people or Ned help with putting those up. So.
Yeah.
Good.
And we do have a big America 250 banner that's going to go up. You said June. So that'll be across Main Street as well, speaking of banners.
Yes, that's Larry is planning on putting that up in June. We haven't put it up just because we want to make sure that it's up for the 4th of July.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't want it to,
The wind to take it
the
away.
wind to take it.
It's designed for wind, doesn't have the cutouts in
It
it,
does have the cutouts, but it doesn't have the reinforced edge.
and it doesn't have the Blacksmith Fork wind trial test
Yeah.
yet, does it?
It does not have the truss.
Okay, great. All right. Mont, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. I wish my reports were as happy and upbeat as yours. We're working with the fire and the county, and I don't know that we need to get into any of the details of that right now, as it's still in progress. We had a county meeting yesterday, met with George Daines for about an hour, and went over numbers, and so we're still going back and forth on that right now. So there is nothing in concrete on that right now as far as what the county is going to do. So that's to be continued, and so we'll just leave it at that. We were fortunate to have on the agenda tonight, and we'll reschedule with Tanner and Tim Tuckett from JBS, who notified me that they would be coming to present a donation for the Elite Hall. And so we'll look forward to rescheduling them for a later council meeting.
I think that's one of the donations primarily Jamie coordinated.
Well, this is one that Tanner come up and talked to me.
So it's in addition to that.
Yeah, this is one that he said we talked about. So it could be, it all kind of runs together. Yeah.
I was thinking there was a different one, so that's cool.
So there's plenty to report, but we'll keep it short and sweet tonight, and as we're going into a closed meeting. So do we need?
Jennifer, do you want me to read you what I need for are we going to the next item for a closed session?
Yes.
Okay, so before we go into the closed session, state law requires a motion. In the motion, you need to state today's date and the time. The reason we're holding the closed session. So if you will recite, we're just going to do one closed session at a time, because we have to record who's in those, and there may be somebody that's excused or added. So if you'll just read exactly the closed session, including the state statute. You also need to include in there the location where it's being held. So you'll just say in the council room here at 60 West Main. And then the vote has to be by name individually, either for or against the motion to hold the closed session. Then once we're in the closed session, we'll start a new recording and we'll state the same thing. It won't be in the form of a motion, but we'll state who is in there at the time, what it's for. And then there will be no motions made during the meeting. When we're finished, we'll open the doors. You guys will make a motion to close the closed session once the doors are open, and then you'll make another motion to open the next closed session with whoever is invited to stay in the next closed session. Okay? Got it?
Got it.
All right. Give me a motion.
That's longer than what I made.
What we need to do is we need to get the radio.
We need
have
to end
them
the
shut
radio.
down
Yeah, we
And
will.
give them a minute. Yeah, okay, and you too.
Yeah.
So one of the council members makes the motion.
Yeah, so it has to be done in an open session, this motion, so you can do that now, and then we can just wait to close the
Okay.
doors,
I'll
but
do all that
the
stuff.
motion has to be made in
All
an
right.
open session.
Okay, Mont,
All right, I move to have a closed session to discuss pending or reasonably imminent litigation pursuant to Utah Code 52-4-205 1A at approximately 8:55 PM on Tuesday, May 21st at the Hiram City Council Chamber, 60 West Main Street, Hiram, Utah. Did I miss anything, Stephanie? Okay.
I'll second it.
Thursday.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, I think we have to do it individually, right?
Yeah, we
Oh,
do.
every individually, yeah.
Okay, Rebecca,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Naylin,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Mont.
Aye.
The motion carries. Okay, thank you all for being
Good
here.
evening. Thanks for coming. Good to meet you, Bob.
See you at Smith's, Bob. Thank you.
Yeah.